Hello. This is going to be another episode of the series Motivational Monday Live with your host, Aura Elena Martinez. And this week's episode is entitled Spring Cleaning Isn't Limited to Your House. Now, before I start with this week's topic, I want to start off by introducing myself. If this is the first time that you are watching this series, and share with you what is it that motivated me to start this series. So once again, my name is Aura Elena Martinez, and I'm a self-discovery and empowerment coach, helping women gain total clarity in their purpose so they can wake up to daily fulfillment and certainty. Now, purpose is not to be limited to a calling. And that's because you could be living your calling and still not be living your most purposeful life. Because a purposeful life also consists of you enjoying greater levels of mental well-being, emotional well-being, spiritual well-being, physical well-being, and even financial well-being. Why not? This is because every part of you and your life matters. This is why saying one part of you is more important than the other is just flawed, because everything has a domino effect. Everything is connected. And so it is my intention that with this series, you look forward to Mondays, right? What got me to start this series is that for many, Monday is that day of the week that people are like, oh my God, another day, another start of the week. I have to go to work. I got to do this. I got to do that. Let me tell you this. If you're already feeling anxious Sunday night because it's the start of another week, if you're not looking forward to Mondays, let that be your sign that something needs to change in your life. Something needs to change outside of you and within you, especially within you, because any change that you're looking to manifest on the outside first needs to occur within. And so it is my intention that this series connects you more and more with the truth of who you really are, with what's true for you, and also that this series elevates your level of consciousness. Now, you're going to hear me say this over and over again because your level of consciousness is everything. It's everything. You know, when there are moments that you hear something or you're reading something and it doesn't land or you don't get it, a lot of times that happens because we're not at the level of consciousness yet to really receive it, to really get it. Just like when you are on a first floor and you're looking outside, things look different from a first floor. The cars look big, the buildings look big. Anybody that's your same height, they just look like they're the same height. Anybody that's taller than you, they look taller than you, right? But if you go to the 10th floor and you look at everything outside of you from the 10th floor, things start looking different, right? The cars look a little smaller. People start looking like miniatures, and the buildings don't look as big as when you're on the ground or on the first floor. The same thing happens the more you keep raising your level of consciousness. Whatever was so big for you is no longer that big. And the things that seem gigantic, they start having a different perspective. And the reason why this matters is because the more we raise our level of consciousness, the more we're able to sense life differently. We're able to get more clarity about things in our life. We start making different decisions. We start perceiving ourselves differently, our life differently. Everything starts to change. Your level of consciousness affects how things land to you. Your values start to shift. And even what you listen to, you're able to listen to it in a much more deeper sense. It starts having a richness for you. This is why all of this matters. Okay? So once again, this week's topic of Motivational Monday Life is entitled, Spring Cleaning Isn't Limited to Your House. So yesterday, actually, I started spring cleaning. And I could feel the difference, not just see the difference, but I could feel the difference when I started throwing things away, because I felt the difference on a physical level, obviously, because I was throwing things away that I no longer needed in my room. But I felt that shift on a mental level, on an emotional level, and on a spiritual level. Okay. And interesting enough, this created space within me to receive what I was meant to receive today, especially because I'm learning new things now. And it all landed for me so differently and profoundly, right? And I was actually able to learn whatever I had to learn today much more quickly. Before I get into the other kinds of spring cleaning that you should be doing that will allow you to enjoy and even get more out of life, I want to talk about the physical kind of spring cleaning. And I want to start off with the house. I want to start off with that, okay? And it doesn't matter if your physical space is just a room. I want you to get how important this is. How it looks matters. It matters. And I'm going to say this, your physical space is a reflection of what's going on within you. It is, right? It's a reflection of what's going on within you. Now, if you argue against this, saying, no, no, Aura, no, no, even though I have a big mess here right now in my physical space, I'm good. Everything is good within me. So trust, no, everything is good. Well, I beg to differ. I beg to differ. And I'm going to be very transparent with you right now. Okay. Oh my God. I can't believe I'm going to be sharing the following. The table that I'm utilizing right now, it's so messy. If I was to show you, it is so messy. I mean, there is like papers everywhere and books and notebooks, and I have my hand cream and I have my bottles of water and I have some bottles of essential oil here. Oh my God. It's messy. And what this mess is reflecting to me is that there's so much that I want to learn, and I am full of so much ideas, and there's things that I want to implement, but it's all over the place. It is all over the place, okay? And by the way, by tomorrow, I'm going to have this all organized and clean up. So, but through this mess, as I started looking through these papers and all the things that I have, I realized that there were things that I was supposed to do that I have not done yet, right? And why didn't I do it? Well, because I'm scattered. At the moment, I am scattered. And that's what this mess is wanting to reflect to me, right? That I'm scattered. If you think that the physical mess that you have in your house won't create any blocks in your life, well, hell yeah, it's going to create blocks. Heck yes. Okay. And if you have a mess right now in your physical space, I'm going to dare you to look at your personal life and see where you have a block in your life. Don't think that this is true. I'm going to dare you to take a look at your personal life and see where you may have a block. That block can be in your finances, in your social life, in your health. If you're an entrepreneur, in your business, in your mindset, in your emotional health. I dare you to look so deeply in your personal life. If your physical space is so messy and you think that that is not affecting any other area of your life, I dare you to look closely at your personal life. I guarantee you there's some kind of block. I'm telling you, this is way too important for you to overlook. This that I just shared is way too important for you to overlook. Okay? And for those of you who may be thinking, well, I just don't have the time to fix the clutter and get rid of the things that I need to get rid of because I have to go to work. I got to be making that money. Well, I'm going to ask you the following. How is your financial situation? If it's not great, despite you putting in all that time and all that energy, then you have a block, right? What is missing? Are you missing clarity? Are you scattered with your money? I'm telling you, all this matters. And because I'm going to tell you this, where there is clutter, there will be blockages. Where there is clutter, there will be blockages. And this is because clutter does not allow you to think with clarity, to see with clarity, and to feel with clarity. It is not going to allow you. It's going to block that clarity out of your life. Also, because everything is energy, okay? So the mess won't allow the energy to flow. And that also includes money, because money is energy, right? So don't think that the clutter that's in your house doesn't affect every other area of your house, because it does, okay? It really does. And spring cleaning isn't limited to your house, okay? You have another house for you to take care of. And it is the house that we tend to neglect the most. And that house is you. That house is you. So I'm going to start off with the body, right? So I'm going to start out from the outside in, meaning from the body, then to the being. Because this is so important. This is so important. Every part of you in your life matters. Your primary house and vehicle is you. I've been seeing this for years, since I've been starting out as a coach. Because I started out as a wellness and life coach, helping people get out of the sugar roller coaster they will find themselves in. So your primary house and vehicle is you. And we tend to take more care of the house and the car, but we neglect the thing that sustains the house and the car. And that is us. Because think about it. Who is paying for the house and that car? You. You're the one that has to go to work in order to generate the money so that you can pay for the house and pay for that car. You are the one that has to take yourself to work. Yes, it's the car that takes you to work, but who's driving that car? You. So you got to take care of yourself first, because if you don't take care of you, eventually you won't be able to take care of the house nor the car. Okay? You're not going to have a house and a car if you don't take care of you. This is so basic, but yet the basic is what we tend to neglect. And you cannot build upon a weak foundation. You can't. This is why we got to start with the body. You cannot afford to be physically exhausted all the time. You cannot afford it. You cannot afford to get sick all the time or so often. You cannot afford it. You cannot afford to be experiencing aches and pains all the time. You cannot afford it. So when you're considering to do spring cleaning in your body, think about the following. What are some foods that you will eliminate from your diet? By the way, speaking of diet, and I say this because I have a background in nutrition, there's no such thing as I'm going to start a diet. Diet is what you eat on a consistent basis. There's no such thing as I'm going to start a diet. You're on a diet whether you realize it or not. Diet is what you consume on a daily basis. So if what you consume on a daily basis is potato chips and soda, guess what? That's your diet. The appropriate thing to say is, I'm going to change my diet, but not start a diet. Then you're not starting a diet. You're always dieting, because dieting is what you're eating, what you're consuming. Okay, just got to put that out there, because that's a phrase that we say. I don't know Why we say that? I guess because we don't know that diet is what we consume on a daily basis. What you consume on a daily basis is your diet. So, what are some foods that you will eliminate from your diet? What are some habits that are sickening your body? What lifestyle changes must you make? Do you need to hire support or accountability for this? What environments do you need to stay away from? Yeah, because there's certain environments that may not contribute to you having a healthy body. Say, for example, if you're going to the bar all the time, smoking and drinking, it's not healthy. So, what environment or what environments do you need to stay away from? Right? Environments do play a role in our lifestyle. Now, there's so much that can be covered when it comes to the body. But if you start with what I just shared here, you're going to experience a lot of shifts. You're going to be shifting greatly. You're going to be shifting your physical energy levels, right? The levels of your physical energy, they're going to start shifting. Your self-esteem is going to start shifting. The moment you do things to care for yourself, to be loving on yourself, your self-esteem is just going to keep growing and growing. Your self-trust is going to grow. Why so? Because every time you prove to yourself that you commit to what you say to yourself that you're going to do, you're depositing more trust within yourself. Okay? There's just so much that you're going to be experiencing. You'll be shifting on so many levels. I want to move on to another part of you that greatly determines how you see yourself, how you see your life, how you perceive things, how far you go in life, right? And how much you do. And that is number 2, your mind. Your mind. Your mind creates your world. If your world isn't the way you want it to be, you got to look at the mind. You got to look at your mind. Your brain is your computer and your mind is the software. Okay? Nowadays we can't be without a laptop or even a phone, right? And if that software has a virus, we can't move with these, right? We can't do much. I wouldn't be able to do this episode had it not been for my laptop. Okay? We rely heavily on all this. Same thing when it comes to when you have a virus in your mind. You're not going to be able to function with ease. You're not going to be able to move with ease. These viruses can be your thoughts, stories, memories. Yes, I include memories because there's some memories that when when you when you remember those things, those times, it can be toxic for you, right? It can be toxic for you. Another virus can be any affirmations that aren't helping you, right? That can be a virus as well. Any mental programmings, any cultural conditionings, societal conditioning, any beliefs, things that are in your mind that don't serve you, grow you, shift you for the better, expand you. All these things are viruses. They are viruses for your own computer. And if you don't know what kind of spring cleaning you have to do when it comes to the mind, all you have to do is look at your life. Just take a look at your life. Because your outer life is a reflection of how you think, of what you believe, of what you say to yourself about yourself, what you think about others. That's right, what you think about others too. Okay? So, what are the thoughts when you're considering to do some spring cleaning of the mind? Consider the following. What are some thoughts you have about yourself that you need to start eliminating? What are some of the beliefs you need to shift? What are some things that you have been taught that don't serve you that you need to get rid of? These are the things that need shifting because if not, they become poison. They become poison for you and your life. And they affect the decisions that you make, what you allow in your life, what you don't allow in your life, what you attract, what you create, your level of consciousness, how quickly or how slowly you expand. So if you're doing any physical spring cleaning, make sure you're also doing the inner spring cleaning, okay? And that is of the mind. That is so important. That is so important. The outer transformation that you're seeking requires a transformation of the mind. Remember that. And speaking of inner spring cleaning, another part of you that you're going to want to do some spring cleaning is number 3, your emotions. Your emotions. If you're constantly feeling frustrated, angry, worried, sad, guilty, grief, all this is going to hurt you on so many levels if you dwell in this, okay? And let me talk briefly about grief, okay? If you're experiencing any kind of loss, allow yourself to grieve. Do not make the same mistake that I made. When my dad passed, I did not want to feel my grief for the first few years. I didn't want to feel it. And I didn't want to feel it for several reasons, okay? One, a part of me was fed up of the 3 rough years that we went through, okay? Because before my dad passing, the last 3 years of his life was one thing after another after another. And on top of that, I was in the middle of making my business take off. And my business was parked at the gate for 3 years, okay? There was no taking that plane to the runway. There was just no way taking that plane to the runway. Have you ever been on a flight where you've had a huge delay right at the gate, right? And say, for example, the delay is 2 hours. And after 2 hours, finally the boarding door gets closed. And so you're pushing away from the gate, right? And you're moving along. And just when you think you're about to go to the runway, the captain makes an announcement saying, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry for the delay that you experienced. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to take the plane back to the gate because, and then there goes the reason, whatever that reason. Annoying, right? Annoying because it's like, oh my God, when are we going to take off? When am I going to land in my final destination, right? Deep down, that's how I felt that life was doing with me and my business and my dreams. That's exactly how I felt. I was so annoyed. I felt like life was saying, oh, I'm sorry. I am sorry, Aura. We're going to have to take this dream of yours and this business of yours back into the gate because this and that was happening. So that was one of the reasons, right? I was just, right? And 2, I had to be strong for my mom. right? Because on a very profound level, her grief was much more bigger than mine. I mean, because she knew my dad since they were kids, they grew up in the same town, and that was her best friend, et cetera, et cetera. And so a part of me felt like I didn't have the space to feel my grief. And by the way, even if you have a situation similar to that where you have to be strong for someone else, you still need to give yourself room to feel your grief. Okay. Anyways, there were several reasons why I didn't allow myself to feel the grief. And the point that I want to get with me sharing that little piece of my life is that when you don't allow yourself to feel the grief, it's going to find a way to move through you. Because energy is not meant to be stuck. Emotions are not meant to be stuck. As a matter of fact, any emotion that is stuck in your body, that is trapped in your body, is going to manifest itself as illness. Okay? Just FYI. So you don't want to do that. In my case, the way I dealt with that grief was overeating. As a matter of fact, the weight that I currently have is emotional eating. It's an emotional weight that I'm carrying, that I'm still in the process of letting go. But that's what happened, right? Anything that you ignore within you will find an outlet. It will find an outlet. Like I said, my outlet, and it was so sneaky because I didn't even realize this was happening. I was eating at night. It was at night. It wasn't during the day that I was overeating. I was overeating at night. Okay. And so when we ignore these things that are going on within us, it's going to find an outlet. And most likely that outlet is not going to be a healthy one, right? So every emotion that you are experiencing, especially those emotions that can become toxic, is so important that you allow yourself to digest those emotions. What you don't want to do is dwell in them. That's one of the biggest mistakes we tend to do with our emotions. You don't want to dwell in them. You want to, just like the digestive system, it takes the nutrients that it needs to take, but then it eliminates the rest. You need to be doing the same with your emotions. You need to be doing the same with your emotions. So as you do some emotional spring cleaning, consider the following. What are some emotions that you're currently experiencing that you have noticed are becoming toxic for you? What are some things that you have to stop doing because it's feeding that emotion? For example, thinking about a particular thing or person. What have you not done that you must do because it would transform that emotion? This is all important things for you to consider. Now I want to move on to another part of your life that if you're going to do some spring cleaning, this is one of those things that you need to be doing a spring cleaning. And it is number 4, your habits. Your habits. Your habits become your lifestyle. Okay? Your habits become your lifestyle. And your habits become automatic. They become something so automatic. And anything that becomes automatic becomes your default mode. All right? And why does it become your default mode? Because it's what's comfortable. It's what's familiar. It's what's normal for you. This is why you want to be mindful of this. You want to be mindful of your habits. Because a lot of things that we do, we don't even realize we're doing it because it's our default mode. It's what we're used to. We don't even have to think about it. We don't have to be like, oh, well, let me do this. No, it's automatic. If your default mode is low, your life will be low, right? Your lifestyle is going to be very low. If you have very low default mode, you got to be mindful of your habits. You got to be mindful of it. A lot of times, the reason why we do the things that we do, and we don't even realize that we're doing it, it's because it's automatic. And then we wonder why our life is the way it is. Why we're used to doing the things that we're doing. Well, because it's a habit and it became your default mode. Okay. So when you are wanting to change your habits, it's going to be important for you to know, so what are your habits? Right? Are your habits contributing to the life that you want? If not, what are the habits that you need to change? These are all things that you're going to have to start looking into. What habits will you commit to acquiring? This is why when you're trying to change something and it's difficult, it's because you have wired yourself to do those things, right? Even the decisions that you make are based on the habits that you have. For instance, if you make the decision to procrastinate on something, most likely you make the decision so often to procrastinate and you don't even realize it. If you just take one moment to think about, okay, what else am I procrastinating? You're going to see what I'm talking about. You're going to see for yourself what I'm talking about. And the reason why you don't even realize that this is going on is because you haven't taken the time to take a good look at your life. Okay? I'm telling you, habits have a sneaking way of showing up in your life. So sneaky, so sneaky. This is why when you are wanting to live your most purposeful life, it starts with your being. And your habits are a part of your being. Big time. Big time. You cannot afford to overlook one of the habits that you have. You cannot afford to overlook it. And I'm telling you, if you start looking into all four areas that I discussed in this week's episode, actually 5 areas if you count the physical clutter that I talked about at the very beginning of this episode, you will start having huge transformations in your life. Huge. There are times that we are wanting to build this life upon clutter. We're wanting to make changes, but we have clutter. A cluttered life is not going to allow you to create the life that you want. When you're wanting to create space for new, space for more, this is it. When you are wanting to shift your energy, this is it. This is it. This is why I say that spring cleaning is not limited to your physical house. But let me tell you this, if your physical house has clutter, it's going to create blockages in your life and in other areas of you in your life. This is why you cannot disregard clutter. You cannot afford to have clutter. And clutter is always reflecting what's going on in your inner world. It always is. It always is. If you think that the physical clutter isn't creating any clutter in your own life, I dare you, just like I said at the very beginning, I dare you to look at your personal life and see where there is a blockage, because I can guarantee you that there is. This is why this topic is huge and so important. And you're going to notice that as you start doing a spring cleaning in all these different areas that I just discussed today, you're also going to be experiencing a renewal within yourself. A lot of times those shifts and those things that we are wanting in our life requires first a renewal within. Renewal out first starts within. So important. So important. You cannot afford to disregard any of this that I shared today. And if you are ready to gain total clarity in terms of your purpose, in terms of what your next steps are, if you are ready to uncover what are those blocks that are in your life and turn those blocks into stepping stones that takes you closer and closer to everything that you are wanting in your life. If you are ready to shed the layers that are standing in the way between you and the life that you desire, then I'm going to highly recommend that you schedule a clarity call with me. I'm always putting the link to that clarity call. And in that call, we're going to see where you are now, where you would like to be, what is required to close that gap, and how I'm able to help you close that gap. Because you don't need to be going in circles anymore. You don't need to be confused. You don't need to be lost. You don't need to not know what your next step is. You don't have time for that. Get the clarity that you need, get the transformation that you need, transform those blocks that are getting in the way. Do it for yourself. Do it for those around you. Do it for that vision, that goal, that desire that you have. You are so worth it. You are so worth it. So you could schedule that clarity call with me or contact me so I could schedule that clarity call with you, and share this video with other people. You never know who in your personal space needs to listen to this message because they have some kind of clutter in their life in any shape or form, because they have a block and they don't even realize what that block can be. And this can be the video that hints to them what they need to be doing differently, where they need to look at in their life. This can be the video that inspires them to take some sort of action. You just never know what someone around you is going through. So share this video with others. And it is my desire that you start implementing everything that I have shared with you today in this week's episode. And with this said, it is my desire that you live life to the max the way you are destined to live. And until next time, bye for now.